Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Yep, that's me. I admit it. I do. Hello, welcome. It's the 26th of June, which is a Wednesday, the day before the terrifying debate. The earliest debate ever. I mean, the reality is we've got a presidential debate by two guys who have not yet been nominated, oh God, by their parties. I mean, this is how sort of, as if there's not a lot out of whack, this presidential race. That in and of itself is bizarre, right? Neither candidate is an official candidate. Oh God. So anyway, there's that for tomorrow. I'm still trying to figure out how to sort of prepare myself for it. I'm gonna try to take a long nap, I think, but I don't nap. So, and if I'm trying to nap, that ain't happening. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, I've been telling you that it's, well, you know yourselves. That what I say, I'm sure applies to you. That reading the news, and I'm still old-fashioned, so I read the news. More than I listen to it, more than I watch it, I read. And oh my God, it's just I guess it always was sort of daunting, wasn't it? Because news by its nature is, heavy duty stuff. But lately, and here's, for instance, something that I saw shortly after regaining consciousness this morning. And it's a wonder I didn't immediately decide to claw my way back into a state of unconsciousness. This was from the Washington Post. I give you the headline: Trump trusted more than Biden on democracy among key swing state voters. Okay, so that headline says that among the people who apparently are going to decide this election, people living in swing states, people who are relatively disengaged, who have not necessarily voted in every election, people who are low information voters, because I gotta tell you, you gotta be a seriously low information voter to trust Donald Trump more than Joe Biden on anything, let alone preserving the democracy that Trump has tried to subvert. How in the name of, this is why, how in the name of God does any sentient being answer a pollster's question of who do you trust more? And they choose someone who is known for being incapable of speaking the truth, who doesn't even have he doesn't even know what it is. His default is to lie. And the subset of voters who are likely to decide who the president of the United States will be, at this point, trust Trump more to preserve the democracy. Well, how does somebody not immediately curl into a fetal position? I really don't have the emotional skills to navigate this reality I'm living in. It's why next week is my last week, then I'm going on vacation. I got news for you. I can't. I'm coming undone. Trump trusted more than Biden. Okay. I'm expecting the Mad Hatter any moment to come through the door. What have we been saying? You can't make this up. You can't make it up. Now, for those of us, and I count myself as one of them, who generally poo-poo the polls, I think we should stop doing that. I think we should assume that this headline is correct. Because otherwise, it is we who are delusional. We who are refusing to acknowledge reality, things that we tend to suggest is a problem with the other side. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know this much. I'm scared. I'm truly scared. And I've always prided myself on not being scared. I mean, even if I am, filled with bravado. I don't like living in fear in any way. And I don't know how people do. And so many do. I mean, there's an entire, marketing industrial complex in this consumer age designed to keep us in a constant state of fear. But that is where my sense of media literacy, of knowing I'm being played all the time, has helped me. I just won't do it. But I acknowledge now, I admit it, I swear, I'm scared. And it's a very discomforting feeling. Trump trusted more than Biden. Okay. And then there's also this. There's also a lot of folks who pay attention to things that we should be afraid of, national security types, uh, people in law enforcement who are looking ahead where threats may lie, just being aware so that, we're not caught like we were on January 6th or like we were on 9/11. And those people, as you know, are increasingly sounding alarms, which is another reason I'm scared. And they have also noted that there's a strange quiet right now in the places they monitor and watch, even though they think we're at a very high level for all kinds of unhappy occurrences, there's now a strange quiet. And they perceive that as another ominous sign. You know, the calm, or the fact that those that would create real trouble for us know that they're being monitored now, very aware they're being monitored. And so they've gone more underground, harder to monitor. Who knows? But the increasing conflation of Trump's reelection campaign with religious evangelical fervor is especially frightening to the folks who know what we should be scared of. Because a religious fervor, that level of passion and faith often yield true cataclysmic violence. It was true on January 6th. It was true on 9/11. The underbelly is religious fervor. And he increasingly positioning himself literally as a martyr for the Christians, as their savior. The use of these weighted, loaded, religious themes. I mean, he literally said the other day something about, if I were to take my shirt off, God forbid, and as if they would see the wounds, like, I don't know, what is that, Saint Stephen or something, if there'd be like holes in his all over for what he's done for them and the incoming he's taking for them, and they're eating this up. One of the things that people are worrying about, the people who are paid to worry, is that Trump's base and his most fervent followers are absolutely certain that he will be reelected. And that is because they are living, in a place where that's all they're hearing. And they're also seeing in mainstream media that he is leading in the polls. He's leading in the battleground states. And so they think this thing is in the bag. Now, that means that when and if he loses, they will go berserk. But we knew that beforehand. We know that they do not accept a result that is not the result they want. They still have not accepted the result from the last election, so we can be assured the only result they'll accept this election is a Trump win. But here's what we know, that his consistent and growing sort of incendiary rhetoric does inspire not only his base, but it inspires real world attacks. Who wouldn't be scared living in a country where, quite obviously, almost half of the populace sees this repulsive, soulless brute as a leader? I'd say that's scary. That's really scary. And again, what's scary is not him, it's the people who see him as a leader they prefer. So, I mean, I don't know, buckle your seatbelts, batten down the hatches, and whatever. We are heading in to something we can't even begin to imagine. So, Jeff Greenfield, where's he been? I mean, I met him a long, long time ago. Actually, I think it was when I was covering a Super Bowl in Arizona, or maybe it was in San Francisco. I can't remember. But he was there doing some coverage, and we took to talking. And he's a bright guy, but sort of. I think we both went to Northwestern too. I think we were talking about that. He wrote a piece in maybe the Post today, uh, saying, and there's, I think he meant it mostly as funny, but he's absolutely right. He's suggesting that the moderators of the debate tomorrow don't ask the questions that the candidates are expecting, because they have the answers. You have to ask questions that might reveal something honest about them. And I'm sure there'll be some efforts to do something like that. But mostly, I suspect they'll play it, straight, and try to touch all the issues they need to, abortion, border security, Gaza, the things that inflation. They'll have to do all that stuff. But Greenfield was suggesting other questions, and here's one I really liked. And I'd put it first. Well, it doesn't matter who you put it first to. Starting at 100, count backwards by sevens. I really like that one. And it would get to the sort of mental acuity of these two. Now, I don't find that exercise easy. And when I saw it, starting at 100, count backwards by sevens, I thought, okay. And yeah, it really makes you think, especially if you're not given to being comfortable around numbers. And I am not. But I think I did pretty okay. It was 100, right? I'm not going to do it now. Oh, okay, I'll do a little bit. 100, right? 93, 82. No, that's not right. I can't do it when I'm on. I did it quietly. Oh, but they'll be on. They'll be in an audience. Okay. 93. Geez, 86, right? I don't know. No, that can't be right either. Jesus H. Okay, so I think that's a good one. Oh, Colin, wait a minute. 93. Yeah, 80. sevens, right? 86, right? 79, right? 72. Yeah? How am I doing? I don't know. That's not easy for me. But it would be, it's sort of the equivalent of calling Trump on his own game. But my reluctance to, I was thinking, yeah, but how would Biden do it? Because his brain might not be as, I'm sure it isn't, just as elastic as it once was. And another question that Greenfield suggested is complete this sentence. Looking back at my life, the one thing I wish I had never done is. Now, those kinds of things, those questions are really hard. I mean, I don't know what my answer would be, but it could really be revealing. Although I think with things like that, Trump, with all his bluster and truth, the need to speak the truth never entering his head, has more leeway than Joe Biden. Uh-oh, Barbara, don't do this to me. Some more bad news for you, she says. Well, it's this kind of thing that I cannot worry about. I worry, but I have no agency to do a goddamn thing about. Barbara has sent a headline: AI is already wreaking havoc on global power systems. And this is an article from Bloomberg News. Yeah, big shock. I don't even, no, things are going to be hacked left and right. You have to wonder what's happening even now. We go about our lives. We don't, constantly think of all the things that can be going wrong, but we do know there's a lot of bad actors out there. And they're intent on, yes, disruption and all these kinds of now computer-like technological things are what warfare is increasingly going to look like. And I would imagine, while the Russians are trying to bomb the Ukrainian utilities, the reality is you don't need bombs anymore. You can take things out, right, with a hack. And I don't know. What a world. I cannot even begin to conceive of what the world will look like in, let's say, 25 years. Can you imagine? I won't be here, but 25 years at the speed with which we are catapulting into a technological age, an artificial intelligence age, an age in which human intelligence will be supplanted largely. I went to a movie with my son the other day, and I haven't been to one of these bigger I always go to like the local theater, which still is like an old time theater, the Manor. But we went to one of the biggies, and wow, in that whole huge complex, showing what, 15 movies, I don't know. I encountered 3 human beings that were working there. So, you know, you do all the work yourself now because they don't employ people. I just keep thinking, what are people going to do? You check yourself in. you go to, kiosks, you get your own ticket. Now they still allow one person, just one soul, to take orders at the concession stand. But, as you know, you're given your drink, you go do all that yourself. It's all this labor that used to provide income to humans, and there's less and less and less and less of it, replaced by machines that force the customer to do the work. I imagine that will only continue to grow. Okay, so listen, getting into politics a little bit. So Lauren Boebert is returning to Congress. God help us. You got to wonder, again, this is the scary part, of people that is not the district has been in. She was very fearful she would be knocked off if she stayed in her home district because they knew her too well. And it wasn't quite as red as a district that opened up when the guy who had been representing it, Buck, decided he couldn't take it anymore and left. So she was able to just, move over to that district. And you have to wonder about the people in that Colorado district, knowing her, seeing her, that they would choose her to represent their interests. It's mind blowing to me. I don't comprehend these people. They scare me. They scare me. I did happen to see who she was running against. This was the Republican primary, and she had a number of challengers. And here's who, my God, here's who the Republican voters had in front of them. They had Lauren Boebert, who, as we know, was thrown out of a theater for behavior that you might assume was a teenager out of control, um, uh, who in every way has exhibited herself in a most unflattering light. But her competition yesterday was one guy who was the Colorado House minority leader, and he ended up having to quit that post after a drunk driving arrest. Another guy she was running against, a former state representative, was under scrutiny for allegations of having run a scam of some sort. There was another state rep who was in such a hurry to cast a vote against abortion rights that he dropped his gun on the Capitol's marble floor. Thank heavens it did not go off. He also had revealed that he had once paid for his girlfriend's abortion. Oh, dear God in heaven. So she was running against 8 other people. And I don't know. And there was a debate in January, and 6 of the 9 candidates raised their hands when they were asked whether they had been arrested. Whether they had ever been arrested. 6 of the 9 raised their hands. And Boebert and the guy next to her high-fived each other. Yeah, there we go. Dear God in heaven. And the squad took a hit yesterday with Jamal Bowman, I believe his name is right, losing his seat. And by all accounts, he'd left his constituents behind, um, and ended up way, way to the left of where they were. And when people don't feel properly represented, they vote you out. And he lost by quite a bit. And despite AOC and Bernie Sanders coming in recent days trying to buck him up, it didn't work at all. I think he lost by something like 20 points. And that is, for whatever. I want to note that this Washington Post reporter is today standing in a Russian courtroom, standing trial for espionage. The court is closed. No one will be there. And this poor guy is, of course, about to be railroaded. He's already been in their custody for 15 months. And I can't imagine how appalling that must be, to find yourself in the unforgiving clutches of Vladimir Putin's penal colonies. But that's where the poor soul is. And he will be, there's never any doubt he will be convicted. His confinement will continue. They've moved him way far away from any major city. And we know from, why am I blanking on the basketball player? We know from her, from what she has said about her confinement, how brutal the conditions are. So my heart and head are with him, and I hope that somehow, he's being held for ransom. There's no doubt about that. So I simply hope that there's some deal that comes down and allows his release. That's all I'm hoping. Got a caller here. Hello there.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Sorry about that. Do you think anything? I'm going to vote, and I get a million texts and emails to donate.
Oh God, yes.
Does it really matter anymore? Are we changing anybody's minds?
Well, I've given.
Do you know one undecided voter?
Well, I don't know, but I do know the way it works is that you need money to put out the advertising that may in fact, sway a voter or two. I don't know. You're right. Most people know. But it's these people, it's just maddening. It's these people who don't follow it, don't really know, low information, and they get to decide. It is disheartening, to say the least.
I think, if you're going to vote for Trump, you're going to vote for Trump. You're not changing their minds. It just, that ain't going to happen. And the only thing is I feel like there's nothing. I mean, talk about Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor. These people are insane. Okay, and I know we probably got some marginally crazy people on our side too, but not to this extent. And so all I can say, and I don't know if any of your audience are undecided. I would beg you to call in and say, if you are undecided and listening, to call in, because I want to hear your fucking reasoning. I mean, and if you're not going to vote because you don't like the candidates, you're just being a spoiled brat. It's like a little child saying, well, I'm not going to eat because I don't like that food. Okay, then you're going to starve to death. That's what it is. And the debate, I'm not watching the damn debate. To what end? Unless Trump has an aneurysm or just collapses, that would be. I'll watch the replay and watch it in slow motion with a big smile and a cocktail on my hand. Okay, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about all this nonsense. I can't imagine I'm alone.
Actually, you put an idea in my head there. You mean I don't have to watch? It never occurred to me.
I ain't watching. My wife says you're not watching. Like, no, I don't like watching train wrecks. I don't like watching car accidents. The Jerry Springer show used to make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm watching this nonsense. I mean, I learned from the Hillary debates when he was stalking her the whole time. Like, and then after he won, I'm like, people really fell for that nonsense. I have no. If he wins, which I'm thinking, there's no fucking way. Whose mind did he change the past 8 years? But you never know. If he wins, it's over. It's over. I'll enjoy the rest of my life. I'll probably make it through. My poor kids and grandchildren. Oh, like kid. Yeah, they're the ones who are going to suffer most. So,
yeah.
Keep a good thought, right?
I can't even begin to imagine. I can't begin to imagine. The world is hurtling into some terrifying territory. And it's not just the U.S., as we know, this kind of, authoritarian, this lust for a big daddy to make things better, and how easily people fall for this, abdicate their own responsibility, cede it to anyone who appears to them to be strong. And what we see people see as strong is pathetic. It's thuggish, and that's not strength. But I don't know what to say. Scary.
I mean, we're in a world. I mean, it's amazing that, like, the world we live in now, it's like you can't teach history in certain states now.
No.
But at the same time, some states are requiring the 10 Commandments to be put in the classrooms.
Yes.
It's like, I mean,
no, we're going backwards.
Are just truly just insane. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, we're going backwards. This is where they want to go. And I think when Milton was on, he put a finger on it. What drove this country over the cliff was Barack Obama. Was
absolutely
a black man, not just once but twice being elected, and it set off these loons. And there's a whole bunch of other people who, whether they know it or not, I think it's a huge.
If you follow their line of thinking, Barack Obama and Joe Biden are both illegitimate presidents because Biden didn't really win the election. That was all fixed. And Obama really isn't a citizen.
Right.
So the last two legitimate presidents won without a popular vote. Bush and Trump.
Yeah.
So it's like,
something's
what
wrong.
Is reality anymore?
Yeah, no, something's wrong here. Something hugely wrong is here. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. Well, God help us. That's all I can say. I mean, something supernatural.
Hopefully Friday morning I'll wake up, hear some really good news, and pop open some champagne at 6 a.m.
Well, I hope so too, but I wouldn't.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't count on it.
I could do that. Though.
I wouldn't count on it. Okay, you. Hey, thanks for the call.
All right.
Always appreciate
All right,
it.
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So I don't know. Oh. Margaret says the gentleman caller, his name is Roger, I think, speaks like Mr. Rogers. So he has a kind, slow voice. But he said fuck twice. There's something, I guess, disconcerting about, yes, hearing a Mr. Rogers like voice say fuck. I don't think Fred ever said it. God. So, I'm just going to insert something totally apropos of nothing here, but it's just that it's in front of me and it's not important and it's pretty incredible, the odds of it. It's the fact that at a middle school in Needham, Massachusetts, they had an 8th grade graduation recently, and there were 23 sets of twins in the graduating class. Now, it doesn't say how big that class was, but I mean, my God, there were 23 sets of twins in one middle school class, 8th graders. I can't get over that. 23 sets. 23 sets. I mean, 46 twins. I'm trying to think, were there any twins in any of my classes? No. There were never any twins. In my son's, there was one that I'm aware of. What the heck? Anyway, I just passed that on because it's not the kind of thing that makes you want to go hide somewhere. Hey, what the heck is, I keep seeing this thing about how the Pittsburgh airport is telling people to arrive as much as 3 hours before your flight, especially if it's an early morning flight. So let me tell you, that means if I would never myself book it, but there are flights leaving as early as 5. So if your flight leaves at 5, they want you there at 2 a.m. You got to be kidding me. Flying. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. Jeez. Okay, so here's something else that's unsettling. In case we haven't touched on anything in particular. Oh, 10% of the graduating class, 23 sets of twins have graduated. It's 10%. Okay. But that's, I don't know. I saw this article the other day about these. They're 90 years old, 90-year-old twins. They're both women. They're identical. I mean, totally identical. So that their boyfriends never could tell one from the other. Their own children couldn't tell one from the other. They always dressed alike. And still do. I bet when they married, they ended up having to go their separate ways for a little bit. But after their husband, one got divorced, I think, and then the other's husband died, They got right back together. They sleep in the same bed, I guess, and wear the same clothes and finish each other's sentences. And that is a truly different reality. I can't begin to imagine, as a singleton, I can't begin to imagine what it must be like to sit next to somebody who looks exactly like you, sounds exactly like you, has always been there, is your best friend, and every time you look at her, you're looking at you. I can't imagine that. Whoa. So, hey, I want to share something with you because I am so appalled that these jerk Republicans, especially the House Speaker, have invited the Israeli Prime Minister to address a joint session of Congress. What could go wrong? And of course, Netanyahu very happily willing to oblige them in this performance. I knew this was happening, but just kept putting it out of my head because I can't bear it. It'll be happening in about a month, July 24. And, you know, this is the one time where Summer Lee will represent me because I bet she does not attend. And I would appreciate that. I would appreciate it. I don't know. Anyway, there's a letter written by some very important Israelis that is published in the New York Times today, begging the leadership of the Congress to rescind this invitation. And I just want to share some of it with you. It is written by a guy who is the president of the Israel Academy of Sciences and Humanities, a guy who is a former director of Mossad. That's, the illustrious Foreign Intelligence Service. He was the head of it. Also another big state attorney's guy, a former prime minister, Ehud Barak, a Nobel Prize winner, and a guy who's a novelist. So from all different realms, political, military, science, the humanities, but people at the top of those realms getting together and signing a letter. And I'll just a little bit of what they say. Congress has made a terrible mistake. Netanyahu's appearance in Washington will not represent the state of Israel, will not represent its citizens, and it will reward his scandalous and destructive conduct toward our country. Yep, right there in a nutshell. They go on to say, we believe Netanyahu is driving Israel downhill at an alarming speed, to the extent that we may eventually lose the country we love. Now, they sound, of course, like we sound when we're talking of Trump. And there's a reason for that. because Netanyahu and Trump are very much alike. Very much alike. They say, to date, Mr. Netanyahu has failed to come up with a plan to end the war, has been unable to gain the freedom of the hostages. At the very least, an invitation to address the Congress should have been contingent upon resolving these issues, as well as calling for new elections in Israel. Inviting him only rewards his contempt for American efforts to establish a peace plan, to allow more aid to the beleaguered people of Gaza, and to do a better job of sparing civilians. Time and time again, Netanyahu has rejected President Biden's plan to remove Hamas from power. And they go on to make clear that Netanyahu continues to push forward with the authoritarian remaking of Israel. And many Israelis are convinced that he has obstructed proposed deals with Hamas that would have led to the release of the hostages in order to keep the war going, and to thus avoid the inevitable political reckoning he will face. And they go on to say his supporters in Israel, the right-wingers, will be emboldened by his appearance in Congress. They will insist the war continue, which will further distance any deal to secure the release of the hostages, who, by the way, include United States citizens. Giving Mr. Netanyahu the stage in Washington will all but dismiss the rage and pain of his people. Oh yeah, but Republicans gotta do what they gotta do, and what they do is performance. Performance. And this one, and stick fingers in people's eyes. And this one is a performance and a stick in the eye to Democrats, who, yes, if a whole bunch of Democrats don't show up, will be used against Biden in the campaign. God, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, guys. What else do I have here? I can't. Oh man. Oh man. Oh, that's a shocker. Not that you care, but in a surprise move, Kenya's president has said he will reject that tax bill that prompted those people to, stage those demonstrations. And I'm shocked. He pulled back. He had the power to keep going. It says, in a sudden reversal, President William Ruto of Kenya said that he would not sign the finance bill that he had long said was necessary to stabilize the economy. And he said this, listening keenly to the people of Kenya, who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this bill, I concede, and therefore I will not sign it. It shall be withdrawn. Whoa. That is shocking. I'm sorry, I think it's shocking. I mean, there were nearly, I don't know, whether 25, 26 people killed. They just flat out opened fire on them. I mean, it was, whoa, that's shocking. Shocking. A few other things that I've noted. and I don't know that anybody gives a damn, but there's some astronauts right now at the International Space Station, that two of them that recently went up there on a rocket that was built by Boeing. Yes, Boeing trying to get into, this rocket business. And they had a whole bunch of troubles with their rocket. And then finally, bango, they managed it was a week or so ago to get one up. But since then, there were things that went wrong, but they got them there safely. But there were things that went wrong, and they were supposed to return home, I think by now, but their spacecraft is still docked at the space station. Its return is delayed indefinitely because there's a whole bunch of problems, and they can't figure out whether there's helium leaks, thrusters that have stopped working, and as if Boeing didn't need any more bad publicity. But I mean, how would you like to be those two astronauts? You sign on. All right, I'll go up there for a week, and now you're there. Who knows how long? And then you got to take this crappy Boeing thing back. I don't know. It says all of this has cost Boeing well over $1 billion in cost overruns, and it needs this rocket to start flying regular crew rotation flights so that it can start, getting some of the money it invested back. Boy, man. So anyway, there's that. And Supreme Court ruled in favor of the White House, rejected a Republican-led effort to sharply limit White House officials and other federal employees from pressuring social media companies to remove posts that the government deems problematic. And again, the court did not deal with the essence of the thing. They just said that the people who brought the case didn't have standing to bring it. They seem to use that, man, that's their fallback. Everything is, well, we're really not going to decide this, but we will say that you didn't have standing. Oh, shocker here. Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Gorsuch wrote in a dissent. I don't know. Guys, I don't know. There was a surprising thing out of Oklahoma. Oklahoma, you got to figure, is a pretty red state, but they keep doing stuff, the Republicans there, that you don't expect them to do. The Republican, essentially, Supreme Court in Oklahoma just nixed a proposed religious public charter school, saying it violates the state constitution and the U.S. Constitution, and that was brought by the Republican Attorney General. So these guys are totally out of step with the Republicans, the evangelical Christian nationalist Republicans. That's an interesting, I don't understand it, But there you have a red state taking a stand. It was to be a Catholic virtual school. It would have marked the first time a state directly funded a religious public school. Now, you can bet this baby's heading to the Supreme Court, and you can bet we already know the vote, right? I mean, we know Thomas's vote, we know Alito's vote, probably Gorsuch. Who the hell knows? My God. They want to build a wall one place, and they want to tear down the wall between church and state. Okay, I guess that's it. We done used all our time up. So, hey, thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being there. I appreciate it. And I'll be back tomorrow because it's pathetic. I got nowhere else to be.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.